Hey everyone. Um, so today, everyone, my name's Karush Koilu, founder of Zayuk. Zayuk is a property association property association. Uh, we provide ledgers, asset ledgers, finance ledgers, service request ledgers to associations. So here I am showing an example, and I haven't really put all the data together because, it just didn't. But here I'm showing the um, way that we handle budgets in the app. So here in the app, um, we deal with allocated amounts, names, and assets, and we're able to change the various amounts on these, and so provide different viewership. And it's it's pretty critical. It's critical, and the reason I'd say it's critical is because you want to know. Well, one, it's automation. So if you see here, we have our assets right there, and we go back to our assets directory where we've defined these assets here. Um, so you've got, your various association assets, clubhouse renovate, it's just anything that you guys can think of. And then you have your unit directory, which is another set of assets. And then, you know, once you have an asset, you can begin to type that asset to a budget. And from there, as your transactions come into the app, you're able to update the transaction to be allocated to a specific budget. So, as your transactions come in, you can allocate those to your budget balconies or abatement or pool renovations. And then within the budgets, you define your asset at the budget. And so this provides whole it's a ledger. It provides data across various stakeholders, and as we mentioned, so this is our budgets feature, and we do various durations, quarterly, annually, monthly. And so as you all set your allocated amount for each budget, add the budget with the allocated amount, and then set the asset to that budget. So if you have a monthly budget for landscaping, well, you'd create a landscaping common asset, and then you would come here to budget. And also, just as a heads up, we are actually in the process of creating this feature. So we haven't done the linking of asset into the app yet. We're just bringing that in, but it's still important for our customers to see what's coming because if you purchase software, and if you're subscribing to software, especially enterprise level software, and your software provider is not constantly iterating on what they're providing you, if your software provider isn't constantly delivering you new features that you find valuable, if they're not updating their text, the way that they're presenting their product to you, and if it's just keeping kind of the same ebb and flow, that's a problem. It's 2024. Software is cheaper than ever. Building software is cheaper than ever. Integrating software is cheaper than ever. And frankly, if your software provider is not iterating and improving their features constantly, you should seriously consider finding a new software provider because In this point, 2024, you should be able to find a company that does what you need it to do, or find one that is good. If you're using outdated software, there's something wrong with that. And so we here at Zayuk, we're building quickly, we're building fast, we're building features that people find useful, like budgets, to create data-driven workflows across transactions and assets. And that's huge for your insurance, that's huge for observability. It's decentralized finance because all the owners have a right to this information, but to continue doing that in a document driven format is expensive. It doesn't translate. Even so, you provide one person with a document. Well, you need to give that document to another person. And if things are changing and constantly being integrated, you can't bring all these documents together. Your association needs a data driven way to bring service requests in alignment with assets and finances, so that, and additionally providing that to all the necessary stakeholders such as vendors, residents, managers, um, all the necessary stakeholders. So, I mean, not even necessarily residents, because we are a commercial association. We handle, our ledger fits for the use case of commercial associations. So it's more so owner tenant environment. So if you're an owner, if you're a tenant, um, whether that's a resident owner and a resident tenant, or a commercial owner and a commercial tenant. But the point of the matter is, Zayuk Safe brings your assets and your finances and your service requests and any sort of governance that your association has, um, such as rules, and we bring that all together. And so, very few, I don't think any other software does that. I really don't believe that the software is so fine tuned to integrate, assets, specifically assets towards the finances, because a lot of existing property management software is mostly about two things. It's about providing the payment platform between the uh, owner and or tenant and the uh, you know manager. That's one. Two is a service request ticketing platform. So those two features are widely used, and we don't do billing. Actually, we don't have Site Safe is not a place where you have your resident accounts come in and log their account and you transact on the app. It's a data-driven platform to decentralize financial information as well as asset hygiene information. No other software is making continuous reserves available, and then bringing that back into budgets, and then bringing that back into service requests, and then providing portals for vendors to come in and out, including your manager. Associations cannot rely on their manager for their information security. That's At this point, an association needs a way to have authority of that, because as the years go on, as your assets degrade, as you have all this information piling up in disparate sources that can't come together, um, it's going to be tough. So here at Zayuk Safe, we take the biggest portions of the data and we bring it all together. So this is not about transacting between residents and and associations. This is not just about having a portal for service requests. This is about asset hygiene over decades. This is about decentralizing decentralizing finance through distribution of financial information in a way that, not just financial information, asset hygiene information as well. Having a digital twin of your association that runs in accordance with several things. The finances, of course, because everyone's there to maintain the asset and to build their wealth and also maintain their wealth and make sure that no one within the association, whether that be a vendor, manager, or owner, or even tenant, is degrading the value of that. So this is very important. If you own in an association, if you are an owner, you want this. If you're a vendor and you vend for associations, you want associations to get on this, because once they have this, I mean, we're here on the budgets, but um, once you get into the vendor portal, then vendors have an availability to actually see the information that this asset had over, the last several years. And so they're not going into, maintaining your asset blind, which is really important, because you don't want to be stuck in a position where vendors don't want to come in and work on your association, on your property, because they feel that they're in the dark, whereas another vendor who's been there for 3 years, who really does have some proprietary information on your association, well, you want that distributed. You want that distributed to people so that there isn't just one vendor that has, a monopoly on your property. You want that information to be available so that, maybe you have a problem with your vendor. I mean, you don't want to distribute that automatically, but if there's a point where you say, hey, I now have a problem, or hey, this vendor's leaving, maybe it's not a bad end of the relationship, just a vendor retires. You still want that information when that vendor retires. You still want their entire repository of information on you, on your property, on your wealth, on your asset, to be available to you, highly available. And that's where Zayuk Safe comes in and where our value is really strong. So I highly suggest anyone reach out to me if they have any questions. I like to keep this pretty short because it's just a lot easier. And if you have a question about a demo or anything, or you just want to know, Zayuk.com, safe.zayuk.com.